Delta Particles is a Half-Life 1 mod. Delta Base is a corporate competitor to Black Mesa, with seemingly more of a focus on weaponry in addition to the teleportation technology. You play as another silent protagonist, Nick Farrell, who is present for the Resonance Cascade scenario, but this time in Delta Base instead of Black Mesa. There are a bunch of weapons here, mostly high-powered variants compared to Black Mesa. This leads me to believe that Delta Labs are likely more military-oriented. This seems to be reinforced by their robotic assault drones, some of which are naturally turned against poor Nick. Fortunately, Nick here has a huge arsenal to deal with just about everything both Earth and Zen has to offer. The pacing here is actually on par with the original Half-Life. There are the quiet parts, which, I'm fond of. The dark ventilation or tunnels, and then the blitz points where enemies are coming in from everywhere. Because of the increased firepower, Nick runs into a lot more heavier enemies than any theoretical physicist might have from Black Mesa. There's even a beautifully designed Zen episode where I definitely wish I had long jump training. Delta Labs has quite the expansion in Zen, similar to the HEV base in the Black Mesa version of Zen.
Now arriving at Sector A, Experimental Teleportation Research. Have a good day.
Seemingly there's no long-winded intro. We will get a little rail ride later though to make up for this. The custom art here is amazing. This really does feel like a different facility within the same universe. The concrete everywhere definitely adds to the military feel throughout, as it is clear Delta Base is doing some weapons research.
Hello, sir.
This dude's just enjoying his coffee here. I have this moment in the morning too. These cameras don't actually show us much other than where we're going and where we've been. Still interesting to see them here though. No Gordon Freeman tie-in here. Well, not yet anyway. There's a lot to take in here. I thought, incorrectly so, that we would be back through this way after the disaster. I didn't spend as much time here as I should have. I've gone back here to check everything out. At least no one is out of toilet paper in this facility. Delta Base has a suit as well. You see they are also exploring Zen and attempting to exploit the resources that they find there, seemingly in direct competition with Black Mesa. I guess Nick Farrell is a Halo fan, seemingly. Delta Base has a real alternate reality vibe to everything, and I did take in the sights elsewhere in the game during the quiet times. I think I know this song. This is a fairly in-depth warehouse back here that you can totally just run by and miss completely. It sucks for the scientist at the table though, considering he's right next to the firing range and you can hear that guy shooting constantly. This is the loading dock here. I looked in here the first time, but I didn't know it actually brought in a crate. There's something I have to try here upon seeing this bay, for science of course.
Ultimately, it led to the convenience of suboptimal energy consumption. The new teleportation device is now free of those drawbacks. The Border Road research team is going to get 3 new members today. The equipment at the research camp on the lower side is already set up for the local displacement device, and the other members of the expedition are ready to meet you. Mr. Farrell, you'll be joined them last. In the meantime, please take a private seat at the control panel. There is information that Black Mesa is currently conducting a level 20 experiment too. It would be fun if it were true.
That was Diana Hayes, one of the main characters. We'll have to rescue and escort her a few times throughout the course of our journey through Delta Base. Here I also get to throw more switches than Gordon Freeman, although they did indicate further up that I was running late.
100 seconds can begin.
Gordon, get away from the beam. Shutting down. Attempting shutdown. It's not. It's not shutting down. It's not.
Nice little tie-in right here where you're teleported to Black Mesa for a moment. You get to see the other protagonist. Seemingly the resonance cascade at Black Mesa has afflicted Delta Base as well. This is a clever use of previous dialogue here, allowing us to have this little interaction to turn on the power. I think in this dark area that this flashlight might be a smidge better than the Black Mesa one, but when we get to Zen, I'll have returned to the idea that it is almost useless. No halogen or LED flashlights for us, seemingly. Once the power is on, we can advance through the door, taking our walking security guard to help protect us. That's a sweet pistol he has, and we'll get one soon enough too. For now, we get this wrench. It hits real hard and has a charge-up attack. We'll get a crowbar later too, and I'll use that instead, just because of the fast attack rate it has compared to the wrench. There sure is a lot of custom content here. I have to look extra hard at the shelves just to make sure I'm not leaving ammo or something valuable behind. I also like all these calendars everywhere. There's a guard that's needed for this door. Throughout the game, there would be doors that are only accessible with a key or with a guard and or scientist. Fortunately, you don't usually have to explore far to get a key or the aforementioned guard. I tried flying up this elevator, but that doesn't work. The cutscene here suggests I had to fall and survived. We do get this splendid pistol though, although as per usual, not nearly enough ammo, at least in the beginning.
Watch it with that thing.
Yellow crowbar here. This confuses me momentarily. Why do we have two melee weapons? The crowbar is just faster though, so it'll be useful for breaking stuff or dealing with head crabs. I do use that wrench until I get more ammo though. This ventilation has two routes. This happens often in the game. Usually one route leads to ammo or some useful items, whereas the other is progression. In this case, I actually need a key to get into the armory, which I definitely want to do. Oh, this has burst fire. This is very useful for headshots. This pistol will get supplanted later by better options, but it remains fairly useful throughout the whole game. And here's a keycard, and the route ahead. I do want that armory though. I could have very easily passed by it if I wasn't looking for it too. I can't get the security guard armor. I know how good that stuff was in Blue Shift, but we do have energy armor similar to the HEV. Crates and boxes can contain items, plenty of ammo, and help to find them scattered all around.
Power level is 13%.
These soda machines are scattered about. They do the usual heal one at a time, but not if you break it open. We occasionally have some of these zombies that run, and they can be really dangerous, especially early on when I have low ammo. And occasionally have enemies that just stand there and leer menacingly at us. Wait, what is this? Are we facing these tentacles things already? This doesn't go well for me. I only have one grenade after all. I don't realize I can only approach from the other side, from the left. I really only have one minor complaint since I do die a few times, as is normal for me. The game doesn't really autosave often, so occasionally I have to redo whole sections. Turns out this area down here is one of those secondary paths you could completely skip. Instead of turning back as any sane person would do, I cross to the other side and get the shotgun. Really, if the achievement is any indication. We don't have much ammo for it, but we got a bit. I haven't figured this out yet, as I just got this thing, but there's actually a semi-auto function on the secondary fire. It makes the shotgun significantly more useful for multi-enemy encounters like this. This is a huge underground warehouse. Throughout we see the structure crumbling with debris falling down here and there. The resonance cascade has clearly left Delta Base with some structural problems. Not that it will necessarily matter by the end though.
No, don't go that way.
I don't listen to this guy. Soda comes in all sorts of colors, but all the machines only have one variety each. I am curious what green or white soda tastes like though. How could barnacles possibly be dangerous? You'd have to be some kind of idiot to just walk into them. This dude gives me HEV energy for my suit. Might not be better than the other variants of scientists and or Hiku that can heal, but it's alright.
That much of a burden. Let's go.
Foreshadowing. Through this vent leads to a room where you're probably supposed to get the shotgun if you miss the semi-secret area behind the tentacle. We also get the power cell, which is another key. Controllers? We're already fighting controllers? We'll be seeing a lot of them. Unlike Gordon Freeman, we actually have some pretty substantial firepower, so we have to deal with more than our scientist compatriot had to, at least early on. This is an interesting little office area with a security booth in the center. These are well-furnished offices, even if there isn't much of value within these. There's more of these structural issues with Delta Base. Although we are seemingly underground here, the whole vibe of the game will change soon enough to surface structures once we get on the rails. A survivor? We don't see a lot of these, but they are often needed for doors or control panels. Security guards provide quite the additional firepower in the few sections where they are still around. Someone's been mining in Zen. What is this archaic piece of circular technology right here?
Otto, you're alive. You're not worried what you might be died during the teleportation sequence. We have experienced an interdimensional resonance. Our sensors detected the anomaly moments before. I believe that the experiment at Black Mesa might cause some interference with our teleportation equipment. The research team members are trapped in the border world, and we don't have the means to rescue them right now. For the time being, we must protect the healing pod. But this signal was sent and we should get help soon. However, we have little time to waste. We are going to secure the equipment here and move it topside. In the meantime, I suggest you search the area for our survivors. If you come across any, escort them to the surface with you. Your protection suit will keep you safe from environmental hazards.
Hey, it's Delta Base Lamar. Diana is already talking about the Border World base, the place we sent those two scientists right before the accident, foreshadowing for the inevitable dive into Zen. This scientist is getting attacked literally one room over. I managed to save him somehow. In the adjacent room, we see plans on a board about some light gun weapon. I wonder what that is. The scientist I saved from before opens up a supply closet with some ammo and a grenade. I knew he'd be able to repair us. Unfortunately, he lacks the ability to climb ladders, so we must abandon him. Seemingly, I also forgot about that security guard before encountering Diana. Well, surely he'll be fine, right? There's another armory here, and we get the equivalent to the SMG. The mercenaries who show up later are actually carrying something even better. Eventually we'll get a silencer for this SMG, although I'm not entirely sure if that does anything that matters, other than change the aesthetics of the gun. Our first grunt volunteers to test out the SMG, and it fares pretty well. Well, we found the security guard we need for the doors back there, now just to get him back there alive and intact. These cameras do actually highlight some enemies for us so we know what to expect, as well as showing Diana fleeing past a zombie. The final one is some creative use of dialogue, which is a pretty cool sequence.
Sir? Thank God you're here. You should be able to get to the surface. Try to send help and let the world know.
Maybe help is on its way, but I'm not waiting around for it. We gotta get topside. Elevators are out of order, but we can still climb. Sir, that injury may need some attention soon.
That sound. What is it?
Who needs a locksmith, huh?
This guard takes the C4 from the locked room and blows open the door, using a line that I think is from the opposing force engineer Marine before he cuts open a door. Wardies teleport into the room in their usual attempt to hinder our advancement. This is the door I need a security guard to open, which I couldn't open before. Unfortunately, this is the end of the line for him. We don't keep allies for particularly long.
Man, if we make it out of here alive, I'm gonna buy you all a round of beers. Hell, I'll buy the whole damn bar.
This is likely the reason we just sort of arrived at our destination in the beginning of the game.
Departure from the station. Sector A. Experimental teleportation research. The next destination is Sector B. Surface area. Approximate travel time is 10 minutes. Get comfortable. We kindly ask you to not lean on the automatic door. Delta Base Research Facility was founded in 1984. The main directions are robotic technologies, photonics and quantum research, alternative energy sources. The main competitor in experimental teleportation research of Delta Base is Black Mesa, located in New Mexico. The U.S. government has awarded a grant to develop spatial teleportation devices. Our goal is to become a leader in this field. Special protection suit was designed to work with toxic safety during work in hazardous environments. The suit is absolutely sealed, has a high capacity battery, compressed oxygen supply, first aid medications for different injuries. It can be totally isolated in the event of necessity for limited period of time. Also, the suit proved to be effective during experimental teleportation tests. The purple color has been chosen because it's rare to see in a natural environment. Also, the Delta Base complex is working on technologies of military use. Some of the last developments are worth mentioning, even if not our priority task. Robotic infantry, a robot based on our protection suit, which is able to act as a real soldier, analyze the situation on the battlefield, use firearms, identify friend or foe, well protected from small caliber bullets. Optical camo is the another our significant development. It can render an object largely or completely area. The weather forecast. Temperature is 18 degrees centigrade. Strong winds. Possibility of heavy rain. Be careful. Today the weather is very unusual for Nevada, the driest state in the U.S.
We're on the exterior. This is where the vibes change from the impossibly large underground city-like structure of Black Mesa to a surface-to-subsurface facility spread out and connected by a rail line. I really like this change-up, especially since we'll get to see and experience weather later on. There's a tentacle out here in the yard. I don't know it yet, but I actually need to go through where it is currently occupying, which will require us to destroy it. This is a transport train here, and clearly we need to move it. I don't recognize it as carrying the fuel we need for the reservoir yet, though. Oh, okay. I think I understand now. Yep, we're going to burn them out. Well, kind of. Turning this crank fills the pit with chemicals that dissolve the tentacle. Sort of like that thing we encountered at Imposing Force. Yep, wouldn't be Half-Life without some dark tunnels to crawl through. The only thing missing is the diagonal elevator, but I guess this isn't technically Black Mesa.
All scientific and maintenance personnel should be evacuated immediately.
I like the mix here of construction and just raw tunnel carved through rock. Sort of like a Minecraft underground base.
I'm glad you got here safe and sound. We're going to reach evacuation site using the railway, but we'll need a vehicle for further transportation. There's a freight train repair depot nearby. Could you find us a suitable transport vehicle there?
We've caught up with Diana, who has amassed quite a team, transporting the healing chamber to the rail lines. There's even one of those assault droids. Surely those won't get hacked later on and turned against us. I didn't mention it before, but the custom health and HEV stations are always a nice addition. The modder tried their best to create a different, while also very similar Black Mesa adjacent looking base. The voice for the HEV energy is even custom. This dead security guard in the mechanics bay has a deagle looking weapon on him. This uses distinctive rounds from the other three pistols. Yeah, we'll get another one in a bit. They all do decent damage too. More controllers. They can't fly around here though, and that makes them easy targets. We gotta defend this location while we load the healing bay. Not a difficult task, as we've got an assault droid down on the ground in addition to a security guard.
Thanks for everything you've done, Farrell. Troops should have arrived right now. Meet up them as soon as you can. Major damage to communication infrastructures prevents us from informing them of our plans and location. Let them know that we'll be on the rails.
I do somehow save this guy. That probably wasn't supposed to happen though. I'm really fond of these outdoor vistas in between concrete labs and buildings. The ambience of the place is pretty nice. This ventilation leads to a closed office with a satchel of bullets on the desk. This needs someone who can operate power. I think the scientist I saved from the barnacle, but he's not the right kind of scientist, it turns out. There's a whole brick underground area beneath us, apparently. There's a flooded section here. I guess the drains are clogged or something. There are stairs going up, but there was another door that opened up back at the beginning, and I just have to know where all the places go. I can't leave any stone unturned. This other way leads to an interior storage area that is blocked by electricity. Now we know why we need to shut the power off, but we lack the individual who can do that still. Back here at the waterlogged ladder, this leads to another exterior courtyard that have controllers waiting for us. The blood, I think, indicates a headshot, but then again, controllers are mostly head, so it's actually difficult to hit them anywhere else. And here's the other pistol, a scope variant at that. I discovered they have different ammunition, which means later I'll be able to switch between them. This means that I'll always have ammo for something, usually. I think these scientists with the caps are engineers or some sort of mechanic. The last one gave me HEV energy. This also explains why the other scientists I saved cannot operate the power systems outside. He opens a door to the interior of the warehouse where a grunt decides to teleport in. I missed it before and wander around lost for a bit, but there is a button in a security room to open the garage door. Zen naturally tries to stop us, but they rarely send enough, especially now that I have some pretty heavy firepower. Yep, these guys with hats give HEV energy. I wonder if the other scientists give health. I'm low on health often, but never around a scientist. The environments here are just very well done, from the exterior to the clutter on the desks and the tables of the interior, including this ventilation area with the fans. This is real nice. One shot to the head here, 2 shots on a controller to the head later on, once I have more ammo for this thing. The weather out here is looking pretty ominous. No scientists trapped in train cars this time. There are a lot of these little battles like this throughout the exterior complex. These little skirmishes are pretty decent, especially since I have a variety of really good feeling and sounding weapons by this point. It usually pays to do some exploring of the local environment too, as there are often ammo clips, shields, or health scattered about fairly generously if you're willing to look. Obviously, this purple soda has to be the superior soda in this place, right? I finally figured out that the shotgun has a semi-auto mode. That only took me, what, 1/4 or 1/3 of the game? It is pretty useful to have, especially since the game tends to throw more enemies at you later on. Wow, you can even shoot the heads off of bull squids too. One of those rare security guards down here. Not sure how they died so often considering how this one mops up these head crabs. But you don't find many of these guys still standing. The AI really sure knows how to use this pistol, too. Back in the subsurface tunnels, we have to leave our security guard ally behind, even though he was kind of a beast. Imagine if the AI in Half-Life could use ladders though, both friendly and enemy. Wait, was that zombie half invisible? Oh no, we have zombie assassins? This is electrified water that I'm completely unprepared for. Also, I think there was a scientist hanging onto the pipe there, but I didn't see him when I was playing. Here's the silencer for the SMG, but I'm not entirely sure what it actually does. I do end up using it, as the SMG is pretty decent throughout the entirety of the game. We had to shut down the power to get through the electrified portion of the water upstairs. I'm starting to think now that perhaps this flashlight isn't much better than the one on the HEV, especially here in the complete darkness. Also, remember that gate with the zombies behind it? This partial invisibility actually works really well here. I'm somewhat discombobulated in the dark. I'm also a little lost, although it is a short distance to the left where the electrified water was. I finally find the scientist. I guess he didn't hang on. They never do, though.
I'm not so sure I want to go to the surface. This is my hiding spot, and I'm not moving until the situation is drastically improved. Now go away.
Well, he's halfway smart. The surface isn't much safer, but also this is a really subpar hiding spot. At least he has a box of flares, so he'll be able to see whatever ends up eating him. Wait, is it raining? We have weather effects in Half-Life? There's even a little puddle here behind me. This is actually pretty awesome looking and adds a cool little ambience to the exterior parts. Sentry gun here in the back of the truck. Although the dead assassin and assassin zombies was our first encounter with the mercenaries, this is yet another indication we're about to have some human enemies to contend with. This is good though. They have a really nice assault rifle that feels amazing and sounds even better. Oh hey, this is the healing chamber that Diana was trying to protect. Seemingly neither she nor the security detail are present here though. The track here leads to a security door, but I can't get into it without a guard. There must be one somewhere in here. This is a makeshift medical area in the back. Everyone here is seemingly already dead, save for one scientist in the back.
Hey man, good to see you. Wow, I can't believe you made it past those masked freaks. Well, I'm not sure what their mission is, but it doesn't involve getting us out of here alive. We've got no choice but to fight our way out. Stay alert, people!
Ah, the ex-military security guard. As excitable as always. Also, he's got that Mars rover calendar in the background. Well, they took the tech. I assumed we would be going after it, but seemingly we have other priorities. I got this rocket launcher over here. Obviously, I'm supposed to try to take this guy out, right? Gordon didn't have to fight one of these directly until much later, but I guess we have more firepower than he ever did. Later on, we'll get the weapon we saw on the drawing board, and it will make enemies like this dude impotent. But for now, we're stuck with conventional arms. He's not fond of rockets. Fortunately, there is this side room with reinforced glass I can use to move back and forth, taking pot shots at the gargantuan. There's an achievement for bypassing this fight entirely, but I'm not really one for sneaking past anything, especially when they gave me a rocket launcher. He ends up eating all the rockets. I have these dead packs I got out of the mercenary tuck. I wonder if these are worth anything. Fortunately, he's distracted staring at a wall and I can drop these on him.
Those are definitely not government troops, but some kind of mercenaries. They seized our cargo and most likely revealed the distress call earlier. The question is, who hired them? I've heard about some shadowy organization that hunts for revolutionary technologies, but they're just that rumors. You must get to the helipad. The most powerful radio station in the facility is located there. They can then send out a distress signal via radio waves. I suspect this area is now under enemy control, but with your training you should have little to no trouble. Of course, there's still the matter of our colleagues still trapped in another dimension. To reach them, we'll have to use the old-style teleporter, located in Sector F. My colleagues and I will head there while we work on sending the new distress call. We'll meet you in the labs later.
I need a security officer for this door. Well, not this one. I actually left one behind before engaging the gargantuan. I've forgotten about him by this point, though. Think I could just carry this guy over the door to open it? Probably not, huh? This is a power generator doing strikes. I have to turn off a series of power nodes to stop it, with Zen aliens popping in periodically in response to my actions. There's some barnacles around here. I gotta be careful around them, since I'm possibly the only person who's ever died to them.
Recon team, ship in. No sign, hostiles, sir. Over. Team, members, ship, okay. Squad, stay alert for hostiles. Over. And mission is go.
This office area has the power out, and you can hear the Marines talking off somewhere nearby. I'm expecting them around every door and every corner. This is a really well done area since they sound close, because this is a multi-floored area. In spite of no Marines, there are zombies and bull squids in here, so I can't really get comfortable. Not that I would with the close-by radio chatter I keep hearing. With the power on, we can finally see again. In the room nearby to the power station, there are some dead mercs with an assault rifle. This thing, once it has some ammo, feels real nice and does really nice damage. I never really have enough ammo, but it is useful against most things. Additionally, the mercs are really dangerous with it too. Even with the power on, we only find more grunts and vorties, still no mercs. I can still hear them talking on the radio though. On the third floor, we find some evidence the mercs were here with lasers and turrets. I take the turrets out because trying to rely on my dexterity and jumping over the lasers is sus at best. First contact, this thing seems to easily take their heads off, but when I'm not headshotting them, they are actually quite dangerous, as Marine-type enemies always are in Half-Life games. Oh yeah, that assault rifle also has the grenade launcher, as I discover here. This machine gun nest is seemingly highly impractical. Why did they even put this here? So I wander around for a bit, not realizing that I can just break this glass and jump through the window. I think the rounds in the glass must have confused me into thinking this was bulletproof. My first use of this thing here, it just shreds the mercs, and it sounds great and feels even better. Most of the weapons in this mod feel real nice to use. I'm not sure there's a bad one anywhere. They are so good in general that I almost never use explosives a whole lot because of that.
Power level is 15%.
Yeah, I guess I deserve that. It was inevitable that these guys would get hacked by the mercs and turned against us. Well, against me. Assaulting this Marine group goes real well until I run in the room, not realizing there was a little tank sitting there in the garage. Well, at least until it shoots me and I realize my mistake. There are mercs fighting Zen. This is a rare moment of AI on AI violence that doesn't last long. Mostly because they've got a Humvee over here with a turret. Taking some rounds for it, I can attest to its effectiveness. It's still raining out here, as evidenced by all the puddles of water everywhere. I throw a grenade and miss, backing up to avoid getting blown up, only for the door to open on me and I get stuck. I'm expecting this thing to blow up. That is a red barrel after all. It does not, however. Assaulting this merc position does not go well for me. Oh, I see, these were two separate groups. For some reason they don't respond from gunfire, only sight. So I ended up aggroing both before. This time I still barely survived, but I do take them on one group at a time. There's some health and HEV energy up here at least to help recover. This engineer, which I rescued from a barricaded door where the first group of mercs were set up, unlocks this security bot. I believe initially that this is going to just immediately attack us, but I guess this one hasn't been hacked. He'll provide some additional firepower for the upcoming battle. The moment I go down the ladder, the mercs come in through the garage door. With backup, they don't last particularly long, but I was also expecting them. Why else would we have a security bot on top, after all? I wasn't expecting Zen forces to teleport in once I got control of the room. Too bad I can't take the security bot with me. It's pretty nice to have around. I got a little too aggressive with the launch grenade. Sometimes I forget the blast radius. Running back there and completely missing the grenade, I once more realized just how good this assault rifle is. What is this? We got a bolt-action sniper rifle in Half-Life? Looking forward to trying this thing out. Oh yeah, this thing is nice. One-shot kills on mercs. This is probably going to be another one of those weapons where I wish there was more ammo, isn't it? Also, that chopper is doing the same thing the Hiku variant does. I wonder if we can shoot it down too. I'm doubting whether this is something I can shoot down now. I can't remember how many I needed for the one in the original Half-Life. What's one more rocket? Look at all that glorious debris from its destruction, too. This makes it look like they have some sort of gun emplacement in there. That grunt in 40 just got blown up. Oh yeah, they got some kind of cannon in there. One is just sitting on it, camping the entrance. I try to be clever here with a grenade and then just stupid charge in when that doesn't work. Somehow charging the gun is the correct answer. I was expecting a blitz point here with me manning the gun, fighting a large wave of Zen though, but that never happens. Man, these mercs sure like putting sentries in the backs of their trucks. There's this encampment down here underneath the overpass. Seemingly things are not going well for the mercs here. They might have massacred the scientists and security of Delta Base, but they are seemingly having some difficulties with Zen. The head crab, zombies, and barnacles everywhere are a strong indicator of their failure. We can actually read some of this with the sniper scope. It says, capture all of the listed items and be ready to evacuate at .051. All witnesses must be eliminated. Your employer will contact you later. Another part here, then there's a list of technology and crystals that are likely acquired from Zen they are looking to steal. The developers put that there for someone like me to come along and read it, and I do appreciate that. Zombies versus mercs. As we've seen prior, it would seem Zen is winning this conflict. At least they were before Nick came along with his arsenal and bag of holding. This ventilation shaft leads to an interesting discovery of two mercs, one on the radio. This is one of those rare moments we've snuck up on them. These really do hurt when you don't have armor. I got this box down here by shooting the boards and then seemed to get it stuck in the elevator. Eventually I realized I can grab it and pull it out from the elevator instead of simply pushing it. This leads us to another office where the mercs are probably gathering the aforementioned technology. Fortunately there's a health station here as I'm running pretty low. Seemingly there are even hard drives on the table, so indeed they were gathering information and tech according to their orders from their quote-unquote employer. Oh hey, it's not raining anymore, but I still see those little puddles. Were they packing up some of those Zen plants to take with them? Presumably this is the mercs loading up something, although I don't recall seeing that on the list of objectives. It would make sense. Remember that weapon on the drawing board back in the earlier Delta base? Here is the weapon in question, and it packs an incredible punch that will down most things effortlessly. Never get more than a few rounds with it, but then you don't need that many. Imagine if I had this thing when dealing with Race X. They wouldn't have been quite as bullet spongy, I suppose. I like how Zen is growing out of control here, having escaped containment either because of the resonance cascade or because they were being gathered by the mercs. You always see Zen life out competing Earth life and taking over. Still some mercs running around out here. I slid down from above and I take a stray grenade, barely surviving. We push on. I don't reset from these mishaps unless I absolutely have to. I will have some problems ahead because of this though. Okay, we gotta be strategery about this. I can one-tap us pretty easily here because of that stray grenade back at the exterior. Turns out grenades are the solve to all of my problems, or at least here. And seemingly I have a few of the launchable variety just waiting around. Oh boy, did I need that. Maybe we can survive a hit now. I suspect there has to be more than 2 mercs in this structure. They have one of those little tanks in the adjacent room. Fortunately, I do have a really powerful prototype weapon, and I have some health and armor from scavenging around this place. 2 rounds to surely tank. This thing is ridiculously powerful. This is a flooded section of the Delta base. This never works out well considering that Zen has a fish, but I don't see one here immediately. I find a tunnel up that has more assassin zombies. Oh hey, I find some actual living assassins up these stairs. In confined spaces their mobility isn't a huge advantage, so I'm not as intimidated by them as I might otherwise be. I also have a lot of explosives that I don't really use because the weapons are just too good. Oh, there he is. I knew we were going to encounter one of these eventually. This did seem like a likely location for one. Fortunately, he can't get up into the tiny room I'm in, otherwise I'd probably get eaten. Seemingly he runs off when injured and uses the terrain to force me to relocate. Did they do this before, or is this some tweaked AI? I've occasionally noticed injured Vorties also attempting to put geometry between me and them. Why is he so quiet over here? I have some genuine trepidation looking for this guy who eventually pops out to ambush. Okay, there's 2 of them. I wasn't expecting that. This one is far more aggressive, attempting to beach itself in order to get to me. Here we are back on the surface with the black brick construction. There's a bunch of supplies over here, including rounds for my favorite weapon. Not sure I have a favorite really, they're all really solid, but the prototype is quite good. There's a sniper rifle just sitting out here in a box in the open. This can't be good. Oh right, the other marine chopper is here too. At least I'm equipped to deal with them. 2 shots? I'm continually surprised by this. This area has an elevator, well, more like a horizontal platform, I guess. Naturally, it isn't quick, so we'll have to defend the location as it moves over to us. Prior to this room, there were a bunch of dead mercs, indicating it probably isn't safe inside. The grenade did not work out well for me. I mean, I guess technically it didn't work out for the Vorti either, but still, yowza. That hurt. Was that a gargantuan somewhere in the nearby complex? Sure sounded like a growl. These assassin zombies in the low light area do actually surprise me. Behind these next few zombies is a familiar face hiding up in a box.
You found me, Farrell. What a miracle. We had almost reached Sector F when we suddenly ran into the hold of these creatures. The security guard who accompanied me was much less fortunate. I thought I'd never get off those crates. I hear you managed to send the distress signal. It's only a matter of time before help arrives. We need to get to All-Star Teleport now. We cannot afford to waste time.
We have to escort her out of here, and naturally Zen has other ideas. I'm escorting Diana, certain we'll be using this gun for something that pops up as she's opening the door. I'm not disappointed, although there are enemies through the door too. There are still mercs around, and we hear their radio chatter before finding them outside in the absolutely spooky looking night. I like this sense of progression of time. There was overcast, then there was a storm, then the storm moved on, and finally it is a very creepy night. I have to go down here, and instead of taking the ladder, I tried a more dangerous route, because I didn't notice the ladder. I guess Black Mesa isn't the only place with fans that defy gravity.
This hydraulic door is jammed, but I think I can fit through the gap.
Well, she's dead. Time to go face the creepy darkness alone. The ambience, the darkness, and the music create an almost liminal space type vibe, especially since I'm seemingly completely alone out here. This turret here at the door reminds me I'm not alone. There are mercs out there, or at least there was at one time, assuming Zen hasn't wiped them out entirely. I found the mercs. Well, what is left of them anyway, getting noshed on by zombies. There's a little bit more of the rail action here, accessing different parts of the structure by moving it on the rail line. Sniper ammo here on the other side, I'll take it. I have quite a few rounds for this thing now. I guess I need to be using it more. I guess I needed a keycard for this door. I read around the top of the tower first without coming down here, so I didn't know what I needed it for. The button here opens up the garage, and I'm going to be thoroughly unprepared for what is inside. Yeah, Gunnar just burst through this garage door like the Kool-Aid guy. That was significantly surprising. I run up the ladder and easily defeat her, so instead I reload and actually fight her on the ground. Second time I use the, well, I'm not really sure what to call it, as they never actually told me the name of this thing. I'll call it the prototype since it was clearly on the drawing board. way back earlier in Delta Base. She eats all 5 rounds from it, which makes her one of the tankiest enemies in the game, at least that I've encountered so far. These assassins in the darkness are nearly impossible for me to see. I think I ultimately get lucky with a couple grenades for the pair on the floor. And here's the security room we saw from before. Button opens up the door. Surely that won't alert the mercs to our presence when we get back to the stairwell. Sometimes I feel like this Magnus bullets always go straight to the mercs' heads. I'm usually aiming center mass, but I mostly seem to hit them in their face instead. Also, it turns out I am actually not dead, in fact. What a most opportune time to use the sniper rifle after eliminating sentry guns here. Is that lightning over there? We've got all sorts of weathers out here at Delta Base. The resonance cascade sure mess with the weather here. I think this is New Mexico, or maybe it's Nevada too. Yeah, they don't have much of a chance now, at least with these stationary emplacements. This prototype just rips through. There's even more ammo for it on the crates behind the Humvee. Or, well, what's left of the Humvee. Initially, they're just mercs and a robot out here, but after I clear them, we start getting these waves of Zen. There are Vorties, grunts, and controllers. A couple of the Vorties are on the roof too, just to provide covering fire. There's fortunately a metric ton of ammo, health, and energy about to help mitigate the amount of enemies present here and keep spawning in. Mercs burst through the garage at the far end, interrupting my sprawling battle, but not for too long. After things quiet down, I collect all the spare stuff lying around. I do notice that red teleporter behind the electrified fence. Inside the garage the mercs came from, I find a switch to turn off the electricity to the fence.
God, that creature from the dimensional reef frightened me. Fortunately, I was able to fight it off. Anyway, let's just get this over with. I would like your help in fighting for a missing expedition team in our dimension. I'll tell you a secret, I was one of the pioneers there. I can show you the way to the camp.
She fought off a Vorty without a weapon. That's pretty impressive, seeing how they killed just about everyone else. She was still talking about rescuing the dimensional team, 2 of which we saw at the beginning. Surely Zen have fared better than Earth, right? Ambush. I think she's right behind me, so I stand my ground. Fortunately, she stayed back, though. I was expecting we might get an armed companion via Alex.
Now, will you look at me? I'm dressed in fashion. For accurate teleportation, 2 points in space must be synchronized, but teleporter on the other side has been deactivated for some reason. I can set us to the point of our first landing only. Remember, I'm counting your expertise to accomplish this very unusual task here.
Yep, that's my first reaction too when I want to stop a teleporter. Just randomly start shooting things and see what happens. Diana flies off somewhere else, but considering she fought off a Vorty, I don't doubt her survival abilities anymore. Welcome to Zen, a lot familiar, but also some new things, much like Delta Base. I'm definitely not an interloper anymore. I was looking forward to the Zen chapter. Dark tunnels with this flashlight? Oh boy, better get used to it. We've got a few of these to crawl through. Much like Gordon's little foray into the world beyond, we have some former Delta Base explorers lying around with much needed ammo, and occasionally shielding. This lighted mushroom overhead thing is pretty neat. Looks like something I might encounter underwater in Subnautica. Oh no, I don't think I've had long jump training. Heck, I don't think Delta Base even has a long jump module. This might be bad. It is pretty dark in here, even with these purple crystals providing some semblance of light. There are some really deep shadows. This flashlight has become almost as useful as the Black Mesa one. Perhaps they are the same, it just felt slightly better when we were back in Delta Base. Second Gonarch. Gordon Freeman has nothing on except Nick Farrell has to deal with. Using a prototype, which has become my weapon of choice for anything large. I just have to dodge her while this thing reloads a round at a time. I take her down, but she falls on me, trapping me with her little head crablings all around to finish the job. This purple zapping light can actually be shot. I don't find this out until much later though, so I just have to run by and take some damage for now. Oh yeah, probably going to need that long jump module sound effect. I can't imagine I'm going to make all of these jumps flawlessly. Wait a moment, what's this? I mean, it was bound to happen, right? Jumping gets significantly more serious later on. This is basically the tutorial for what is to come. Being stuck on these islands with controllers will require some minute dodging. I don't have that down yet though, so I just tank the damage instead. You never want to voluntarily take damage in Half-Life. Nope. It took more than a few tries to figure out I could actually shoot these hive things. In fact, I sort of have to shoot them considering my health level. In spite of shooting all of them, I barely make it through this alive. 7 health, what could possibly go wrong? Not the greatest place to find yourself almost bleeding out in. Got to love how Zen looks over here on the Delta Base side of exploration of the border world. I survived this, but really I shouldn't have. One of those little rounds would have killed me instantly. There are some Black Mesa Zen vibes here with the waterfall and the more connected nature of the islands. It is a good vibe. That's not good. I actually do survive a hit, and then through a miraculous cache of luck, I managed to dodge every other single round thrown at me. I've got to find some help somewhere, and soon. Some more of that luck where I fall down into a large pool of Zen healing water. The situation was getting a little dire at 3 health. The lack of HEV energy here is concerning as we take a lot of damage without it. I have to be extra careful and dodge everything because there isn't a lot of energy batteries to be found, at least in this area. This little guy, a Zen frog or something like that, unfortunately I step on him accidentally and it explodes. I think this might be the first non-hostile Zen creature I've ever seen before. Everything in the border world seems extremely hostile, in or outside of its natural environment. How does this little guy even survive? We're above the water area we were in. There's some desperately needed HEV energy up here as well. Maybe I can survive just a little bit longer with it. Dare I say the jumps aren't too bad knowing what's coming? They aren't too bad here. Wow, this is just a great job on the Zen environments. They look real nice. Oh, I found another one of these guys, and I don't step on him. There's plenty of HEV out here, health too, as well as ammo. Only a scattering of enemies so far, but naturally that can't last. We're still out in the wilds of Zen. There's this blue teleporter here underneath the bramble area we were just at. Yeah, I don't like the look of this place. Big open area, no obvious enemies. There's definitely something up there waiting for me. Or there will be when it teleports in. There are a few zombies, but as soon as I get into the room, enemies start teleporting in. Sure enough, this is a big arena. They don't come in overwhelming numbers, but every time I kill a few more teleport in. Oddly enough, I do find ammo for the Merc gun, which shouldn't be something they would have out here, right? There's a gargantuan growl, and I know I'm in for it now, except he only takes 3 shots from the prototype, which is just incredible. This gun is so powerful. Big enemies just aren't a threat anymore. It's just the drain of the smaller enemies over time that causes problems now. This is a massive storm raging here in Zen. It is pulling everything towards it, us and enemies alike. We have to fight enemies while also trying not to get sucked in towards it. Yet again, somehow I managed to get into a barnacle, managing to shoot it before I get noshed. The lifted status, however, causes the storm to grab me and pull me out into it. I'd almost made it across too. The modders gave players with questionable skills like me an achievement, however. I'm really missing that long jump training now, and the presence of a long jump module. Controllers spawn in every few smaller islands while bigger stuff appears when I reach the first of the bigger islands. I can see why there was a dead Delta base explorer at the beginning of this section with a sniper rifle. Blindly jumping down into this bigger island, I find more of those hives and I quickly dispatch them, but not before I find myself with almost no health again.
Power level is 15%.
Probably hound hives are pretty dangerous here if they get you close to the edge. I don't really ever let them do the little blast wave thing though. Finally, up here, I discover I can shoot the zapping lights. Seriously, I swear, Nick has culled the population of controllers, even if they are growing them out of a vat somewhere deeper within Zen. I've killed so many at this point. No wonder they didn't show up for Gordon Freeman early on. Nick killed them all. This is an optional section with a healing pond. If I wasn't concerned about the lack of healing, I probably wouldn't have risked falling, but I probably need that health. I wasn't surprised this time and had a weapon ready. I'd figured out your trick, Zen. I guess you can one-tap their heads with this thing? Good to know, but probably too precise of a shot for me to make ever again, unless it's just accidentally. Wait a minute here. Did I really just jump through all of that? Both without long jump training, but also no long jump module? I had the soundbite ready and all. I was expecting some falls. Now this is just a fascinating concept for a level. We're on an asteroid spinning through space. Every time the galaxy passes by, the area is bombarded with radiation that slowly drains my suit. This stops when the galaxy moves to the other side and the asteroid becomes dark. I essentially have to power on the teleporter and eliminate the threats that arrive before getting cooked. This is something I do poorly the first time, wasting effort on a near endless supply of Zen spawning in. Also keep in mind, for story purposes, Delta Base built all this stuff. They might not have had to deal with Zen at that time, but they still had to cope with that radiation. The teleporter leads us to what is likely another asteroid with the same galaxy in its skybox, but this time it is significantly further away. At least we're making progress, and there is no radiation here. Also, are we still in Zen, or are we outside of the portal world by this point? Here are my nemesis enemies in the dark, as per the usual. Weirdly, a security guard teleports in and falls to his death in this rather unusual sequence. There are also a lot of Delta-based zombies here. I'm starting to think we aren't actually going to rescue anyone from the Zen side of the base. I feel like maybe I didn't go the proper way because it is dark here, like real dark, and I'm struggling to find the ledge I'm supposed to jump on. I've heard that distant cry a couple times, not sure if it is ambience or something else. These barnacles are really well placed. The ones in the original Half-Life were always obvious, whereas there is a decent use of darkness here to obfuscate their presence. Seems we've discovered the Zen portion of the Delta base. They really just set up computers outside, but then again, I guess it doesn't rain. This is quite the setup too, akin to the HEV base in Black Mesa. So far, there isn't a single hint of a living member of the exploration team, and that doesn't change here. It looks like a colony base here, with quarters and even showering spaces, and seemingly functional plumbing at one point, but too many Zen around for many survivors. The various bunk rooms around here have ammo, but they also have head grabs and zombies.
I can't hold on much longer.
Our first survivor, such as he is, I guess Nick dodged a grisly end by not being teleported here at the very beginning.
It was all for nothing. All of them are either deceased or went missing. We should know. There's nothing else for us to do here. We need to keep moving.
This access card reunites us with a familiar compatriot. As she stated, no one is left alive. It is time to go home, such as home is back in Delta Base. We have to defend Ayana while she starts the whole charge-up sequence against a multitude of enemies, nothing we haven't seen before. And we have our choice of weaponry for this battle. Plenty of controllers as per the usual. You go first. Seems like a bad idea, but it works. Well, sort of.
Everything's changed here. I'd rather say it's a little too different. It's looked like a lot of time has passed, and all of this alien flora? Curious that it could survive on concrete structures. Well, let's assess the extent of the contamination.
Seems like time has passed. Not the first time a teleporter can cause time to pass, but a lot has happened here. Zen has taken over, seemingly, and the bodies are now skeletons.
It cannot be. It's much more than that. You may pinch me. Or better yet, bite me.
Wait, we're in Zen? The whole base? I wasn't expecting the ending really at all. I'm guessing the controller population is going to hit an all-time low if Nick Farrell is now a resident of Zen. This is a really nice custom artwork and graphics. The weapons all felt phenomenal to use and were quite effective at the higher amounts of enemies. I love seeing a different perspective to the resonance cascade that was outside of Black Mesa, yet close enough to remain fairly familiar. This just feels like another DLC of the original Half-Life. I especially liked finding HEV suits in Zen just to tie back to the original even more. You made it all the way here. Thanks for watching. Happy holidays, such as they are. Stay safe out there, Interloper.